In this video, I'm going to go over my top 5 thoughts and opinions of the new Apple AirPods. Hey everybody, this is Andrew from T is for Tech, and today I wanted to go over my top 5 thoughts and opinions on the new Apple AirPods. Now, I've owned the first generation AirPods pretty much from the beginning of when they were available. I got them over the Christmas time period when they first came out 2 years ago, and I have been using them fairly often ever since. Kind of on a day-to-day basis, listening to music, at work, on the conference calls, and that sort of thing, and have had some observations when using the new AirPods over the last couple weeks as compared to the old ones. So I just wanted to kind of go through that real quick, try to make this video pretty short. I'm not going to do an unboxing. There's a million unboxings on YouTube, but I really wanted to try to just talk about my experience and how they compare to the previous generation, in my opinion. Now, I did not get the wireless charging case for these because I never had an issue with keeping enough charge in the case where I would think I would need to constantly be charging it on a wireless pad. And while I do use the wireless charging Qi pad for my iPhone, I don't have multiple Qi charging pads that I want to use to charge my phone and charge the case, right? So I have a lightning cable right there. I just plug it in when I need to, and it's not a problem. Now, that being said, if Apple had introduced AirPower and they had that at a reasonable price, then maybe I would have got the charging case for the AirPods, because then I could just lay my phone and the AirPods down on the same charging pad. But until they have something like that, honestly doesn't seem to me to be worth the extra money to get the case when I'm not really going to use it. The second thing that I've noticed about these that make it a lot better than the prior generation is the always-on Siri access is really actually pretty good. I never really found myself using Siri when I was using the old AirPods because it was a pain to have to double tap and do that to access Siri. And right now it works really seamlessly. You can basically say it. Siri responds really quick. She sounds good. Doesn't sound like in a tunnel like it used to sound, very crappy sound. So definitely I have found myself using Siri more often just because I can just say it and it works. Now, if you're worried about battery life and all of that, you can actually turn that off, but to turn it off, you turn it off for the whole phone. So it's not just the AirPods, it's the whole phone. So I didn't really notice any difference in battery life by that being on. The battery life was still good. So definitely my second opinion here is that the Hey Siri feature is great. And speaking of battery life, that's another thing that I noticed is much improved in this version of the AirPods. Now, I never really had as much problems with these listening to music with the AirPods, but I always had problems with the phone calls with the AirPods. And that deteriorated over time as well with the battery life kind of slowly going down over the 2 years I had the prior generation. But often, even at the beginning of owning that generation of AirPods, being on a conference call I would run out of battery by about an hour and 15 minutes of being in a call. And I have noticed that that's at least double on this. I mean, I've had phone calls where it's been 2 hours, more than 2 hours, and I still had 15% battery life left on the AirPods after I was done with the call. And they charge up really quick, obviously. I mean, that's the same. But the battery life for phone calls is definitely better. And I use them a lot in that use case, and it is better. The next opinion that I have and kind of thought after using these for a couple weeks, and I know this might be a controversial one, and I've seen lots of people on YouTube getting kind of flamed for thinking that this is the case, but I do think that they sound better. And before everybody goes off and says, oh, you had earwax in there and you don't know what you're talking about, it's all in your mind, blah 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 blah. I don't know, man. I kept my other AirPods really clean. There was no earwax in there. I don't even have a lot of earwax. People that have tons of earwax, I think you need to clean your ears a little bit better. But yeah, I never had that issue, right? These just sound better. I don't know if it's the the Bluetooth 5, the new improved H1 chip. The latency is better. I don't notice as much latency. There's one thing when I hooked to my computer and watching YouTube, could almost perceive a delay in the old AirPods. With the words on the screen to my ears, right? I don't notice that at all with these. The sound is good. It's crisp. It's tight. There's not a ton of bass, obviously. Everyone knows, these aren't audiophile quality headphones, but they sound good. They sound to me better. The signal that I get on phone calls to me sounds better. It's stronger. I would always have dropouts and kind of just like little blips when I was listening to calls on the old generation AirPods. That's not the case with these. At least it is not as much. So to me, there is a perceptible difference in the sound quality overall in these AirPods. And I know everyone's going to say, no, Apple said there's not. They said they use the same speakers. It's the same construction, blah, 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 blah. Again, whatever. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. But I think, to me, it sounds better. Something about the overall, maybe the firmware versions, the software they're using, the H1 chip, the Bluetooth 5, there is a perceptible difference. So in my opinion, they do sound better. So the fifth and final thought here, an opinion that I have, is that for me, this was a solid upgrade over the prior generation AirPods. I was starting to suffer for some battery life issues and just kind of the degradation over time of using them so often for the last 2 years, that I needed to do something. So either I had to pay Apple for the battery service on the old AirPods, or buy another AirPod first generation, which doesn't make any sense at this point, right? You wouldn't do that. And so, I think this just the non-wireless charging case for me was the choice to make. Like I said, I don't think I would get any benefit out of the wireless charging case because of what I said earlier on in this video. And so for me, the Lightning charging is perfectly fine. I get enough battery life, and charging it infrequently is not a problem for me. But if you use wireless Qi charging a lot and you've got extra capacity on your charging pads, then you definitely have that option, right? And it's not a ton more money, I guess, in the grand scheme of things, to get the wireless charging case. So that's kind of up to you. So thanks for watching. I hope this was a little bit helpful or useful. If you have any comments, go ahead and drop those below. If you like the channel content, please like, subscribe. I appreciate that going forward. And before this video ends, I wanted to play a little bit of a prior video that I had made, just in case Tim Cook or somebody else is going to watch this, which I highly doubt. But it's a message to Tim on his voicemail from someone very famous.
Your call has been forwarded to an automated voice message system. Thank you for calling Apple. Tim Cook is not available to take your call right now. If you'd leave your name, number and brief message after the beep, he will get back to you as soon as possible. Thanks and have a nice day.
Timothy, this is gone. And yes, Morgan Freeman sounds like me. Please do me and Steve a favor. Don't f*** up the 2019 iPhone.